Fuck around, make my 40 pop.
Boruto chapter 59 review. Alright guys, we're pretty much capping off one of the most eventful days in Boruto history. I released my episode review earlier today, but now I'm going to be talking about chapter 59 of the Boruto manga. Now the first thing that I do want to talk about this chapter has to be the new character that was introduced. His name is going to be Daemon. Daemon is like a child, the younger sister of Eida, and is pretty much extremely overpowered. He comes in with an already established clout. The clout that he comes in with, Amado himself pretty much said that the cyborgs that were actually locked away, they are locked away because they were stronger than Jigen, and we've seen what Jigen was capable of today. So obviously all these characters being stronger than Jigen is of course troublesome, but also Daemon's abilities are also extremely intriguing. His abilities is pretty much reflecting the attack or intent to kill that people actually do have towards him. So for example, in this episode right here, or in this chapter right here, there are 3 guards, or let's just keep it a G. There were 4 guards, but 1 tried to run, but there were 3 guards that actually tried to attack Daemon. The first guard had a blaster on his hand and he tried to shoot Daemon with the blaster. Before he got to shoot Daemon with the blaster exploded in his face. The second guard tried to throw an axe at Daemon, but before the axe even left the guard's hand, the axe was lodged into the second guard's head. And the third guard that actually tried to attack Daemon, this guy was reaching for his sword, and before he actually got to pull out his sword, his head was chopped off. So he's pretty much reflecting the intent to kill on his own opponents. Now this right here seems absolutely insane. In my opinion, I think this really reminds me a lot of the Akatsuki back in the day and all of their hacks abilities, but honestly we understand Daemon takes it to a completely different level. Now not only that, the biggest question about Daemon is going to be his taijutsu ability. Is Daemon going to have the speed, the strength, and also taijutsu prowess as a Jigen? Or even is he going to be on the level of a Delta? I personally believe if he is on that level, it makes him a lot more sinister. If he's not on that level, of course it makes him a very overpowered character, but it doesn't necessarily put him on that god tier level like of course a Naruto, Sasuke, or even a Jigen, even though we did get the prerequisite knowledge that Jigen pretty much locked him up because he understood that he could probably kill Jigen. Now me personally, I am not too worried about Daemon. Now here's the thing, I personally feel like if Sasuke and Kawaki were to actually fight against Daemon, they'd be gone. Daemon would probably destroy those 2 characters, mainly because when they fight, they're fighting with the intent to kill. Of course, Sasuke at the beginning of Naruto Shippuden didn't necessarily have that intent to kill, mainly because he was focused so much on Itachi. But I feel like in a situation like this, where Sasuke understands the mission and Sasuke understands that they're actually trying to kill him, he's probably going to go all out and probably have that same intent to kill. Now here's what I'm talking about. When it comes to Naruto and Boruto, naturally they are going to be fighting, but they won't be fighting to kill. And I think this right here could possibly be a very interesting thing to possibly combat this ability. Of course, what Eida said in this episode is that Daemon's ability is to pretty much reflect the intent to kill and also multiply it. But what if Naruto or Boruto attacks this Daemon kid and they have no intent to kill? What if they just have the intent to actually restrain Daemon? I personally believe that right there is going to be a very interesting storyline to actually see exactly what happens, and especially in a situation if Sasuke goes against Daemon and Sasuke just wants to put Daemon under a genjutsu. Does Daemon know how to deal with genjutsu, and can he even reflect genjutsu? I might be underestimating Daemon, but the way his abilities were actually described, it could 100% be tricky, and I understand 100% why Jigen will want him to be sealed, mainly because Daemon again is just way too tricky. But I think that characters that we have right now, Boruto and Naruto especially, would not be attacking him trying to kill him. And of course if Sasuke is coming in with requisite knowledge of his abilities, of course he wouldn't necessarily be trying to do the same thing as well. He'd actually try to opt to go for a genjutsu of some sort. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Now another big thing that happened in this chapter was Code actually questioning his own power. Now in this episode, it wasn't necessarily like anything too crazy or like anything too long of a segment, but in one of his sentences he said he thinks that he could defeat Naruto or Sasuke in a 1v1, but in regards to fighting them both, he doesn't know if he can actually take them on. Now this is something I've been questioning for a very long time. We understand that Code right now is extremely powerful, he's stronger than Delta, but in regards to fighting both Naruto and Sasuke, even in their weakened state, with Naruto not having the Nine Tails and with Sasuke not having the Rinnegan, is it really confirmed? Like, do we really know that he could take both of them on at the same time? Because let's be honest, even though that Naruto and Sasuke are still weakened, these are still 2 of the strongest shinobis that we've ever really seen before. So because of that, I'm not necessarily going to pencil in the fact that Code 1v2 is going to be able to defeat Naruto and Sasuke, and Code himself isn't doing that either. Now, we also found out that Eida herself, in regards to actual battle skills, isn't necessarily that much adept. What Eida said was that she has simple taijutsu. Now, again, when we're talking about characters of her ilk, simple taijutsu might be 8 Gates Might Guy level taijutsu, so we have to take that statement with a grain of salt. I personally believe that she's completely downplaying her powers. I mean, she was sealed for an absolute reason, and I don't think it's only going to be because she has the clairvoyant Senrigan. I think it's going to be because of her battle skills, and if that's the case, she's definitely downplaying her fighting ability. I think she just overall doesn't want to fight. But one of the things that Amado said a couple of chapters ago, I think it's really resonating with me right now. Amado said that he created these cyborgs, the ones that Jigen wanted to be thrown away, to actually beat Jigen. I think that Eida herself had very special capabilities. I think Eida was created specifically so Amado could actually spy on Jigen. Just to refresh you guys, even though her abilities were on full display in this chapter right here, but her abilities is she could pretty much see into every single room and hear every single conversation. Even the conversation that Kawaki had with Amado in this chapter, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, Eida pretty much sympathized with it, mainly because she's seen what Kawaki and Amado were talking about. She's seen that Kawaki was pretty much extremely stressed out over Naruto's well-being. She sees and hears everything. So of course, if Amado created her, this could possibly mean that he wanted to actually spy on Jigen, which is absolutely insane. But of course, if that was her main ability and that was her main thing, that would probably mean that she wasn't necessarily there for actual combat abilities, which would kind of make what Amado said at first, that all these cyborgs are just so much stronger than Jigen, a little bit faulty. It would pretty much mean that Jigen was afraid of their actual abilities and not their strength. For example, if Jigen goes against a character like Daemon, I'm pretty sure that Jigen probably wouldn't necessarily like it, mainly because he'd be reflecting damn near everything, and also he wouldn't necessarily like Eida, mainly because he wouldn't have a second of privacy. But let me know what you guys think about that in the comment section below. Now, the next thing that I do want to talk about has to be Amado offering Kawaki another Karma Seal. Now, in this particular situation, Amado explained like this: Kawaki getting another Karma Seal wouldn't necessarily be any threat to him, mainly because Isshiki Otsutsuki is already dead. Therefore, there would be no threat of Isshiki Otsutsuki taking over Kawaki's body. Now, here's the thing. I think Amado is extremely suspect. Just him offering something like this is extremely suspect. We talked about in my last video how Amado could potentially be an Otsutsuki member, potentially trying to put a Karma Seal on Kawaki himself, but also it could be the fact that Isshiki Otsutsuki can actually be revived by that Karma Seal. I don't know. Maybe Amado just doesn't know. But for example, Boruto right now, he has the Karma Seal of a quote-unquote dead Otsutsuki member. Momoshiki Otsutsuki is not with us at this particular moment, and of course, once Boruto's Karma Seal is pretty much complete, it's very possible that Momoshiki Otsutsuki is going to take back over Boruto's body. I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into this, but that right there just seemed very, very fishy. Now, not only that, we all know what Kawaki's fate is going to be later on in the Boruto series. Kawaki is going to have the Karma Seal. It's just a matter of time of when he gets the Karma Seal and how he gets the Karma Seal. And in my personal opinion, I think this right here is going to be the reason why he actually does acquire the Karma Seal back, for the need of power. We seen in the last sparring session versus Boruto, Kawaki literally went to absorb something, the Thunderclap arrow, and he completely forgot that he didn't have the Karma Seal, and it's a little bit like he kind of misses the Karma Seal and he kind of misses the power. In the name of the Hokage trying to protect Naruto, he might actually opt to get the Karma Seal back. In this episode, he was still kind of thinking about like, hey, should I get the Karma Seal back? And then he ran into Shikamaru. So I personally believe that this right here is probably going to be the way that Kawaki actually gets the Karma Seal back. Now, is the Karma Seal going to be exactly what Amado told him it was going to be, where Isshiki Otsutsuki doesn't come back, or it's probably not Amado's Karma Seal? I have absolutely no idea, but I definitely think that this right here is going to be the reason why we see Kawaki with the Karma Seal in the future. Now, the next thing that I do want to talk about has to be the end of the chapter. Amado was extremely sus. This right here made me understand that Amado has something up his sleeve. We all thought that Amado had something up his sleeve. We wasn't necessarily breaking any ground with the speculation and the theory that Amado is up to no good. But in this episode right here, I think it was pretty much confirmed. Amado and Sumire pretty much got into an argument, mainly because Sumire was calling Amado out for being extremely suspect. Amado didn't necessarily confirm nor deny anything. He didn't say, hey, I don't have any sort of ulterior motives. He's just basically looking at Sumire like, yo, you're trying to do this right now. I personally believe that Amado understood that he was going to be under very heavy surveillance, and because of that, he was probably being extremely tight-lipped, and at this particular moment, he didn't necessarily divulge any sort of information, and he probably would have had Sumire kept her mouth shut, which is why Amado kind of called her out for being completely stupid. I think that Sumire was actually building the trust of Amado. Now, also, Amado asked Sumire, are you being smart or are you being stupid? I think him asking Sumire, is she actually being smart was his way of asking Sumire, are you trying to join me in my mission? But Sumire, of course, was not trying to do that and just kept reiterating the sentiment that Amado was being sus, and Amado understood that, hey, she's probably not trying to join my team, so I'm going to call her out on being extremely stupid. I think in the next chapter of the Boruto manga, we're probably going to get a lot more clarification of exactly what Amado's plan is going forward. At this particular time, it's looking very dim for the character of Sumire. She might be in some trouble. And not only that, I think this right here could potentially be the start of Sumire having a much bigger role in the Boruto series. But let me know what you guys think about this chapter in the comment section below. It's me, your boy Baara B, and we out. Bye.
It's a knife.